Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is David Meltzer. I'm the Secretary General of GVF, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to the presentation on the GVF Quarter Century of Excellence Award. Just a few words about GVF, and then I will hand off to my colleague, Pacome Revillon, the CEO of Euroconsult, our partner. GVF, as many of you know, is the global trade association representing the entire satellite ecosystem, and we were established in 1997, which makes this our 25th year of existence, and we thought this is a wonderful opportunity with our partner at Euroconsult to recognize the achievements of the satellite industry as a whole over the last 25 years. And you see in front of you some of the milestones, and there are certainly many more over the last 25 years. And I think it struck me as we developed this list how things have really accelerated in the industry, and you'll be hearing more about that in the next few slides. But if we can turn to the next slide, where you will see GVF's role in the satellite industry. As I mentioned, GVF is the only global nonprofit trade association for the satellite industry that represents the entire satellite ecosystem. So from satellite operators to manufacturers of ground equipment to service providers, really truly the whole ecosystem with a global membership. One of our chief responsibilities for our many members is to be an industry voice in front of global, regional, and national regulators on spectrum matters. And certainly the need for spectrum has accelerated over the last 25 years as competing demands for spectrum, whether it's from the mobile industry or others, have emerged over the last 25 years. GVF I think is very much known and appreciated for having developed over 20 years ago a training and certificate program. To date, over 20,000 students have taken our training, and we recently rolled out training for non-technical staff to understand the business of the satellite industry. GVF has also led the development of various industry adopted standards, for example, minimum antenna performance standards, as well as a practice for mutual recognition by the operators of antenna type approvals. And then as any trade association, it is very important that we as the global voice for the industry provide opportunities for our many members to speak, to communicate, to advocate, to present their company to not just those in the industry, but importantly, customers outside the industry as well. Next slide, please. So just a brief look at where we are today, and then I'm going to hand it off to Pacome to talk about where we were 25 years ago and where we may be in 25 years. Today, we're really as an industry at a very exciting point. We have seen a lot of the GEO operators place orders for software-defined payloads. This is going to dramatically increase the flaxibility of satellites, the ability to serve specific markets and specific demands. We are seeing just in the next few months, the launch of second generation middle Earth orbit infrastructure, which is going to have much more capacity, and it's going to be an intelligent infrastructure. And then certainly we're seeing for the last few years the deployment of low Earth orbiting satellites, which provide lower latency and are able increasingly to provide global coverage. And we're seeing many entrants to the LEO world. And in fact, the pace of launches is picking up, and very much an exciting time for the space segment. And then communications only happens when you have a ground segment to communicate with the space segment, and the revolution we're seeing in the space segment is mirrored by revolutionary developments on the ground segment. We're seeing software-defined modems, flat panel antennas, truly taking off and providing greater capacity, greater bandwidth, and in many cases at lower cost. Similarly, today, we are seeing the Internet of Things and the wonderful partnership that satellite can bring to those that are desiring to monitor things, if you will. They, whether they be narrowband or broadband, satellite is, with its ubiquitous deployment, is very much able to facilitate the Internet of Things. And then a final development, there are many more, is the Release 17, a 3GPP, which creates very much a standard, a role for a satellite in the 5G network of networks. So these are just some of the developments today that the industry is very much facing, and great opportunities. And I now want to hand it off to Pacome Revillon, the CEO of Euroconsult. And as I mentioned, Euroconsult is our partner in this endeavor. They are celebrating the 25th anniversary of the establishment of World Satellite Business Week. And with that brief introduction, Pacome, why don't you take us through what you see as the past, the present, and the future for the industry. Pacome?
Thank you very much, David. So first, it's been a pleasure and honor to be a partner of GVF, not just today, but after quite a number of those 25 years. And certainly very happy to be part of this webinar today and this excellent award process overall leading us to September. So as you suggest, I was still preparing my SATCOM engineering degree at the time, so was not there, but Euroconsult was already providing strategic advisory and market intelligence, also maybe not as diversified and global as it is today, but I can try to share some views on where we were and where we're going. So where we were, interesting enough, in 97, we were in the midst of a first revolution for the SATCOM industry, I believe. That was really the take-up of digital television at the time over satellite. You know, the chart here is just giving an idea on that growth in television channels that have, for a good part, shaped the industry, its development, the emergence of new players, etc. And it still represents today a very large part of the industry revenue and profit. So that can give an idea also about the stakes and the positions to take now in the new, more data-centric revolution we see. But I think it's from time to time overlooked, but that revolution at the time led to a breadth of new entrants in the industry and geographic expansion, players in Europe, US, Asia, LATAM. It was a time where we had a privatization of the former IGOs and really the entry of investment funds and industries that was much more economic and financially driven than it was before. There was consolidation taking place in the early parts of the years 2000, and obviously there was the end of the internet bubble that played a role. But at the time, so I think the change, except for higher power satellite, etc., in terms of the economics and business models, were not maybe as dramatic. If you go to the next slide. Very quickly, not a deja vu, everything have changed a lot, but on the left side was just a view at the increase in supply for the industry. So as opposed to terabit per second, it may have been transponders, but at the time there were already pretty ambitious plans to bring new assets, infrastructure to the industry. And on the right side, you could just see a list at the time of all the constellations, so some of them actually GEO and NGSO, looking at KU, KA, V-band, MSS, IoT. So obviously at the time, not all of those programs went through actually, and everyone knows the story, but it was already a pretty innovative time with a lot of initiatives. So a lot have changed, but also to keep in mind that 25 years ago already was a pretty intense time for the industry. Next slide. Next slide, if that works. Yes. Okay, so where we are today, I think maybe commented, but you talked about software defined. I think the data-centric element of the industry is becoming obviously more and more central. And the three direction like broadband with appetite for bandwidth, that is, it's been growing fast in recent years, is just to continue. The software-defined architectures end-to-end are clearly one big play into this decade, and it's still really the start of the story. And the integration of the further integration of satellite networks and services into the ICT environment, whether mobile, whether cloud, and others. And if we go to the next slide, as time is already almost gone, well, next 25 years, let's say, what could be a few guesses? More and more broadband data exchanges. I'm not taking a very big risk there. I think one thing that will change is certainly that I believe all of the space assets will be more and more meshed together through, we talk about inter-satellite links, but I think more and more assets with the ground and between them will be connected over time, changing some architectures. Sustainability will still be a big topic against mass manufacturing and how to occupy, use, and create value in space and out of space. Metaverse automation still the very beginning for transportation and the rest. I think that will be very transformative in terms of either data volume, but also the services to be delivered. And if you look at the past and what I believe will happen, you know, organizations in industry, operators, but not only them, if you look really at what they were a decade ago and today, have come through major transformation already. 25 years, I believe that you have to keep in mind with innovation as it goes. Any organization would have to go to 3-4 cycles of reinventing themselves partly when considering what the business will be, what the services will be, and technology by that time. And that's it on my side, almost on time. Ending it back over to you, David.
Thanks very much, Pacom. And now we have an opportunity to hear from each of the 5 finalists. Just a word of introduction for each of the 5. We have Natalie Lettieri from Eutelsat, and then joined by Sharon Nirenberg of Hughes, Alison Horrocks of Inmarsat, Stuart Dortridge of Kratos, and Andrew Roskowski of SES. And I'm now going to give each of them 3 minutes to make the case using one slide, why their company should be seen as the most single greatest contributor to the satellite industry. So let me first ask Natalie to present Eutelsat's case. Over to you, Natalie.
Hello to all. Good morning, good evening. So I'm very delighted and very pleased to participate to this event. So I've been working in Eutelsat since 23 years. So I believe that I can provide a good view of how Eutelsat supported in the last 25 years most of what you have presented before. So Eutelsat is a world-leading satellite operator with currently operating a fleet of 36 satellites. And today we are providing broadband and broadcast and connectivity services almost around over the globe. So mainly in Europe, Africa, and South America, but we are also now providing and investing a lot in maritime and avionics services. Today, our company is composed by around 1,020 experts over 52 nationalities. So we were privatized at the beginning of 2000s, but we still consider us as an international company with many facilities spread around the world. Today, we estimate that with our fleet, we serve around 1 billion of TV viewers. And with our connectivity and broadband offer, we provide almost connectivity to 3,100 of customers around the globe. Today, we are investing a lot in pivoting our strategy. I mean, to provide more connectivity of broadband services. We have recently launched Connect Satellite, which provide broadband services over Europe and Africa. And we are going to launch a new innovative satellite in QV band, which will provide additional connectivity over Europe and Middle East area, and which in somehow address the needs of those population which are in a digital divide area. We are also investing a lot in company responsibility, social responsibility activity. The idea is to reduce indeed the environmental impact. So we are today making action on both on the industry for the space, for the satellite, or for the design of new satellites. So we are accelerating the transition to electric satellites. We are also investing a lot in improve the effectiveness of our ground segment infrastructure, which is spread over the world. And we have been during the last 25 years always pioneer in introducing new technology. One example is Quantum, which is a software-driven satellite, which is today in operation. And we have today with our investment in OneWeb, trying to facilitate access to satellite resources, investing in solution which integrate LEO and GEO satellite capacity through a single integrated ground segment infrastructure, putting also efforts in building an IT framework which facilitate the access to satellite capacity from distributor resellers and end users. And finally, through our offer and our assets, we have been for many years providing support to non-profit organization and humanitarian organizations such as Telecom Sans Frontières. And we are founding signatory with the United Nations on the Crisis Connectivity Charter. So that's all for me.
Natalie, and sorry to cut you off, but we do need to be mindful of the time. Let me ask Sharon Narenberg of Hughes to make a presentation on behalf of Hughes. Go ahead, Sharon.
Thank you, David, and thank you to GVF and Euroconsult for the honor of being here today among such impressive ecosystem partners. Hughes has contributed to the satellite and telecom industry profoundly over the past 25 years. An August 1997 article in the Washington Post discusses Hughes' entry into markets where no one has gone before, bringing high-speed internet access to the home. They called it the biggest gambit to date for Hughes network systems, and noted some uncertainty about the demand for such a service and how much people are actually going to use high-speed internet links at home. That was in 1997, the same year that GVF was founded by a few industry leaders, including Andy Worth, then president of Hughes. Since then, Hughes has made a tremendous impact on the industry with the design and launch of Spaceway 3, the first satellite to use dynamic beamforming, and Jupiter 2, which enabled broadband speeds over satellite coast to coast in the US for the first time. Our newest Jupiter 3 satellite will deliver more than 500 gigabits of capacity over 2 continents and will be the first system in the industry to utilize Q and V band for gateway feeder links. We've re-engineered our own Jupiter ground system for other operators, including co-panelists here today, SES and Eutelsat. We are the leading manufacturer of VSATs in the world, and one of only 2 manufacturers in the world supplying Inmarsat BGAN terminals. We're an engineering powerhouse in the LEO sector, supplying ground technology for Iridium, Globalstar, and OneWeb. And we've been a staunch advocate of satellite as part of the 5G ecosystem, helping defend industry spectrum on the world stage at the WRC and the 3GPP Release 17. And we recently debuted new multi-orbit and multi-transport capabilities, integrating LEO and GEO and fixed wireless in a preview of what's next in connectivity. Around the world, Hughes technologies and services are making a tremendous impact on society, connecting millions of people to the internet with our own HughesNet service, rated as the #1 rural internet service by US News and World Report. With our technology connecting millions more to the internet around the world, from Indonesia to Algeria and from Siberia to South Africa, managing more than 500,000 enterprise network sites, including 50,000 managed SD-WAN sites for customers like retail petroleum chains, grocery and big box retailers, fast casual restaurants, banks, and lottery systems. We're powering connectivity at more than 50,000 rural schools with Hughes equipment and extending mobile network operator reach at thousands of cellular backhaul sites. We're also delivering emergency connectivity along with the US Federal Emergency Management Agency, as well as the ITU, to which we recently donated BGAN terminals along with Inmarsat. As for financial impact, Hughes contributes more than 98% actually, of EchoStar's revenue and has maintained a steady trajectory of growth over the past 25 years. And that is Hughes' quarter century of impact.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Very much appreciate it. And now let me ask Alison Horrocks of Inmarsat to present the slide on behalf of Inmarsat. Alison, over to you. Alison, you may be on mute. We're not hearing you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I was just finding the mute button. Thank you, David. So thank you very much for the nomination and for the opportunity to speak to you all. I joined Inmarsat in 1999 and I've lived through the period covered by this honour. I wouldn't have worked anywhere else and remain passionate about all we do. I believe the talented people at Inmarsat truly deserve this recognition. We have a tradition of services that began by saving lives at sea. That tradition continues across all our services. Beginning with safety, we've grown into broadband, high-speed broadband, and will grow still further. This connectivity underpins global trade and travel and enables companies to innovate, knowing that their connectivity is guaranteed by Inmarsat. 1999 saw the full implementation of the Global Maritime Distress and Safety System, or GMDSS, safeguarding lives at sea. To this day, we remain so proud that we continue to meet the high safety standards of GMDSS with 99.9% network availability. 1.6 million lives are protected under this service daily. Our commitment to saving lives extends into the air and on the land. Millions of airline passengers and crew are protected by our safety services on around 17,000 aircraft each day. Governments also use our connectivity to help when disaster strikes, and we too are also so proud to have been supporting Télécoms Sans Frontières since the year 2000 with these same mission critical services. We introduced in 2005 our revolutionary broadband global area network known as BGAN, which provides simultaneous voice and data communications from lightweight, portable terminals. BGAN was recognised with the prestigious McRobert Award for Innovation from the Royal Academy of Engineering in 2010. Our award-winning Global Express service was introduced in 2015. This is the most advanced, commercially available, high-speed broadband service to cover the world. Today, we have 5 GX satellites in service, one of which is en route to its orbital position, with 6 more scheduled to launch by 2025. Of these, 2 will be dedicated to connecting the Arctic region. In 2016, we celebrated 25 years of Inmarsat C's unparalleled contribution to GMDSS. Over its lifetime, GMDSS has made the biggest single contribution to maritime safety since the advent of the radio in 1899. In 2017, we launched the European Aviation Network, a world first, in partnership with Deutsche Telekom. This integrated space and ground network service delivers seamless Wi-Fi for passengers throughout Europe. These are examples, a few examples of how we have led the way throughout this 25-year period, and we are excited about the next 25 years. It's an absolute honor to represent Inmarsat and its incredible people to you all today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alison, an excellent presentation as well. Now to Stuart Dortridge of Kratos. Stuart, over to you.
Hi, we are honored to be selected as a finalist for this prestigious award. And we'd also like to congratulate GVF and Euroconsult for the contributions they've made over the last quarter of a century. Kratos provides network and ground solutions that support satellites in orbit. Over the last 25 years, we have developed breadth of capability that assure the availability, reliability, and mission goals of our customers' satellites for communications and other space-based applications. Our impact on the space industry can be seen in the chart. We've seen a lot of exciting changes in the satellite industry from a technology, business, and mission standpoint. And right now, ground systems in particular are going through a critical transformation that will impact the industry for years to come. The ground layer is the core enabler to innovations in the space layer. Only through advances on the ground can the industry utilize and monetize all of the innovation that's been created with the newer satellite payloads and their associated LEO, MEO, and GEO constellations. With the increasing complexity of multi-satellite, multi-orbit, multi-payload operations, we believe the pace of innovation in space and ground have to be linked. The two are becoming one unified network, not two parallel layers. As a result, we've leveraged our vast experience to develop the first and only software-defined, fully virtualized ground platform called OpenSpace that tightly couples and synchronizes the space and ground layers into a unified space network that also seamlessly integrates with the larger terrestrial networks. These are exciting times in the industry, and again, we are honored to be considered for this prestigious award.
Thank you very much, Stuart, for the excellent presentation. Our final presenter will be Andrew Ruskowski of SES. Andrew, over to you.
Hi, David, and hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be on with this esteemed group, and congratulations also to the Global VSAT Forum and Euroconsult on this anniversary. I happen to agree very much with the vision that was articulated earlier about what the next 25 years will be like, and I'm very happy to be part of a company that is really at the forefront of making that a reality. SES has a long heritage of lots of different things. Founded in 1985, today we cover 99% of the world's population with over 70 satellites and multiple orbits. We are a satellite operator, we are an integrator of solutions and a service provider across video, both direct to home and broadcast, as well as with networks in the form of government, enterprise, telco, and mobility services, 2,200 people around the world. But I'd like to focus on 2 points of our heritage today, which I think speaks to what is core to SES. One is around innovation, and SES really is a company of firsts in many ways. Obviously, in 1985, we were formed as the first private European satellite operator. The Luxembourg government gets a big credit for that, thinking forward about space and what can be achieved there. SES was the first in our O3B line of business, the first NGSO operator. We've been doing NGSO at MEO for over a decade, learning the lessons, in some cases the hard way, and now we have a heritage of doing NGSO, and we're going to be doubling down on that heritage with the launch of O3b mPOWER here very shortly. We're the first multi-orbit operator, obviously, MEO and GEO, and we bring together the solutions that are being expanded by multiple orbits and the combinations of those. And SES has also done all sorts of innovation and technology. One great example is we're the first to take a chance on SpaceX's reusable rockets, and that's turned out fantastic, and we're very proud to have done that and others. The other area of heritage I'd like to highlight is our heritage of thinking about community and thinking about the stakeholders around the world that we serve and that we exist with in environments. And a couple of examples there. Obviously, O3b, the other 3 billion, was at the forefront of our developing our move into the NGSO constellations. And you hear a lot about our success in cruise and in government, but what's not as well known is what we've done to connect the unconnected. And it's some fantastic stories about bringing connectivity to the unconnected world, like the Cook Islands, where our installers have been hugged as they walk down the street wearing an O3b SES shirt, because they've made a difference in the lives of people in those communities, both in education, employment, and building community. We've partnered up with the Global VSAT Forum in the past to bring new employees into the satellite world, training installers throughout India and Africa to make a difference, to be part of the ecosystem, both around employment as well as a much needed service for the satellite industry and the community that depends on it. And lastly, emergency.lu, SES in partnership with the Luxembourg government and others has really thought about how to bring our resources to bear in the cases of natural disaster and other unexpected events, founded around Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas. Emergency.lu sends out response resources to help recovery and make a difference in the lives of people who've been affected by disaster. So anyway, we're very, very proud to be part of the satellite industry. We're looking forward to continuing to bring that innovation and that community thinking to the next 25 years. And it's a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and thanks to the other presenters for excellent presentations. And now we get to the fun part. We have an opportunity to ask at least one question of each of our panelists, and time permitting, we'll get to a second. But let me ask my colleague Pacome to pose the first question, which I think goes to Eutelsat and Natali. So Pacome, over to you.
Thanks, David. So now for the hard part of being on the grid. No, just kidding. But Natali, so for Eutelsat, thanks for your earlier comments. So just to get a bit deeper, and obviously as a lot that has happened over those 25 years. So Eutelsat was a pioneer, I believe, when it launched Outbird 1 in something like 95. So if you were to quote just a few, where do you think Eutelsat greatest service provision advances have been made, either for broadcast or broadband, and what are the one or two things that you believe add the greater benefits to populations which you've served within your coverage?
Oh, I was on mute. So I believe we did very significant advances in both broadband and connectivity services. We launched first connectivity services at the beginning of 2000. We indeed opened a company in Italy that was specialized for this kind of services, providing connectivity around the globe with our digital offer, and addressing mainly enterprise, governmental, and non-profit organization. So the big innovation was introduced from us with the launch of KSAT satellite. and KSAT infrastructure. KSAT was the first broadband satellite covering Europe, providing high throughput connectivity to hundreds of users over Europe. At that time, we developed a ground segment infrastructure that simplified access to our resellers over Europe to KSAT capacity. We launched a full software design satellites. I believe it was the first, which is Quantum, that indeed now is almost used by governmental and enterprise entities. We did recently some investment on OneWeb with the target of integrating our connectivity and broadband offer, and so to proceed with this integration between LEO and GEO, and so address a worldwide population for addressing different needs. So we have recently deployed new platform in South America, and also in Africa, where we provide connectivity to local entities and schools. So we believe that as we did in the last 25 years, we are providing a high contribution for addressing the digital divide issue over the world, and helping the local population to get access to internet. And finally, for the connectivity, we are now investing a lot in our advanced software, which address more mobility and avionics services. And we are now in a process to support the industry in order to introduce the innovation that are needed in order to complement the satellite offer with the terrestrial and wireless one. For broadcast, I mean, we have been leading.
1 minute to finish with broadcast.
Okay, just one. So, I mean, today we are broadcasting more than 7,000 channels in standard definition, and more than 20,000. We introduce innovative solution to facilitate the access to free to air channels through a innovative solution which allow those channels to be addressed by a massive population. We have implemented turnkey solution to help smaller broadcasters to benefit of our fleets, and through the connectivity with our ground segment infrastructure. And finally, we are leading broadcast content in MENA and Africa. That's it.
Thank you. That's quite a view. David, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Natalie and back home. Next up is Sharon. And Sharon, in your presentation, you highlighted the fact that Hughes is different from most companies in the industry, as it has both space and ground segment. How has this combination led to technical or service advances that might otherwise not have been achieved if Hughes was limited to either the ground or the space segment as a provider? Sharon, what do you think?
Well, it's true. Hughes is unique as both a technology provider and a services provider. And that actually creates a lot of synergy for our customers, who include almost all the members of the GVF, among hundreds of other operators and enterprises. So let's look at HughesNet as an example. It's the #1 satellite internet service in the world with well over 1 million endpoints. To bring our own customers faster speeds and more data, we developed our Jupiter 3 satellite and the corresponding ground system. Our Jupiter 3 satellite isn't even finished at the factory, yet Eutelsat is already enjoying many of the innovations of the latest Jupiter system ground network operating on their satellite right now, bringing their Connect customers high-speed internet. I'll give you another example. We have several hundred patents to our name, and we've contributed many of them to the DVB-S2X joint licensing patent program. As we all know, this is the technical standard for satellite transmission that enables higher throughputs and greater bandwidth efficiency. And we've joined with others in the industry to make it accessible to engineers around the world, to encourage innovation and enable every provider and operator to benefit from optimizing bandwidth with this industry standard. We were also the first to implement adaptive coding and modulation, setting another precedent for the industry. We call this our virtuous cycle of space and ground segment, or technology and services, and it's in evidence across the Hughes business. It gives our engineers the perspective of the total system, the satellites, the gateways, the VSATs, the operating systems, and enables optimum design trades to meet customer requirements, enabling faster speeds, higher performance, and better economics.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Pacom, I think you got the ability to ask the next question of Alice.
Sure, and that would be to Alison. So, you know, looking at Inmarsat, obviously, the company at the time was, you know, pioneer incumbent for L-band transmission, went to introduce solution like Beacon, and then I believe make a major jump by investing into its Global Express system, and now has announced Orchestra. So, you know, kind of what has informed the company's technology development in this way? What supported that decision and impact you could see from that on the company and its clients, I believe.
Great, thank you. Thanks for that question. So I think I'd start with saying that our objective is always to look at meeting the demands of our customers before they even know they have them. We try to anticipate their requirements and ensure we are there when they arrive at the point of need as well. So we're in constant contact with them and with our partners who work with us to develop technology and services worldwide. It's really important having that partner network. This allows us to anticipate what's next and innovate to remain ahead of demand from our customers and the competition. So from our foundations in the late 1970s, because we were created in 1979, keeping people safe and connected at sea, through Beacon to ELIRA. ELIRA is our L-band network, and Global Express, which uses our Ka-band network on land, in the air, as well as on the oceans, which was our heritage. We've always provided the best possible connectivity to people on the move. Lives and livelihoods depend on us, so we focus on always-on connectivity and reliability. That focus and our understanding of our customers and partners enables us to develop technology to underpin growth for our customers and for the world. We support travel and trade through secure and connected maritime and aviation sectors, and are relied upon by businesses and governments across the globe for their mission-critical connectivity needs. In short, I believe truly that we help, Inmarsat helps the world work. And now as we look to the future, we'll continue this path. We're launching the Inmarsat 6 satellites, which are the most sophisticated commercial satellites ever. They will continue our L-band service out to the end of the 2030s actually, not 2020s, 2030s, as well as enhancing our Ka-band Global Express network. And will also provide Arctic coverage for Global Express. We will overlay additional GX capacity around the rest of the world. This began in 2019 with GX5 and will continue with our GX7, 8 and 9 satellites. Finally, we don't rest on our laurels for the moment, and we will bring this all under the broader umbrella of Orchestra to combine this with a terrestrial 5G and a small focused LEO network to remain ahead of the game and delivering for our customers' needs, whatever they may be in the future. This is a really exciting time for our customers, partners and employees in the industry as a whole. Thanks for the question, Pacom.
Certainly, and thanks to you, Alison. David?
You and Stuart, on behalf of Kratos, you made a really good presentation, and you pointed out that Kratos has a distinguished heritage as a provider of the solutions on the ground to support the satellites in space. How have your solutions helped the ground segment evolve over the last quarter century? Stuart?
Sure. So for over the last 30 years, Kratos has been developing products and systems that are used by more than 80% of the world's commercial satellite operators and some 90% of US space missions. The breadth of these products and the turnkey integrated systems have improved and reduced the cost of delivering powerful base satellite services in the areas of communications, weather, science, as well as other missions that offer significant benefits to society. Over the last 25 years, we've seen both satellite and ground systems evolve as the industry has grown and matured. Early example of this evolution is evidenced in the area of like satellite command and control systems, where Kratos was one of the first to develop a COTS-based satellite control system, a signal control system that could operate a diverse fleet of satellites manufactured by different companies. This was a revolutionary idea at the time and resulted in both huge cost savings while greatly improving the safety of satellite operations. Another example of this progression in the ground layer was with the increased number of satellites came an increasing amount of RF interference. The development of the first digital signal monitoring system, allowing satellite operators to not only see the RF power level, but to actually characterize these signals in the digital domain and see into the RF to identify and characterize interfering signals. This allowed satellite operators to quickly identify and resolve interference and related RF issues, improving the quality of service for our customers and allowing optimal use of the bandwidth to enhance revenues. As communications networks and satellites continue to increase in size and complexity, satellite ground systems also need to evolve and mature. The next step in that evolution, as mentioned before, is to take advantage of the massive investment by IT, wireless, and cloud providers in virtualization, cloud architectures, communication standards, and software-defined networking, and apply them to the satellite industry so that we can evolve to the next level of scale, responsiveness, and performance, while driving down the cost per delivered bit. Kratos continues to advance technology and is at the forefront of enabling the movement towards a ground layer that is digitized, virtualized, and more seamlessly integrated with the space and larger terrestrial and cloud networks. Thanks.
Thanks very much, Stuart. And Pacom, you get the opportunity to ask the next question. Pacom.
Sure. So, Andrew, I think already in your presentation, you referred to O3B, for example. I've one on the investment cases where SES was actually first a shareholder and partner and then full owner with O3B launching in 2013. So the company, you happen to be the only operator of an high throughput system in medium Earth orbit and to have operated that in geo systems in the last decade. So happy to hear more about this impacted or transformed the organization itself, but it impacted as well partners and our customers over that time.
Okay, thank you. So at SES, we like to say that we do extraordinary things in space to enable amazing experiences on Earth. That's a relatively new terminology that we use, but I think it applies to SES from our start. And there's so many examples of that. We became the first multi-orbit operator bringing O3B into the family, as you said. What that meant for us was an opportunity to be at the forefront of making space relevant to a broader market of customers and more stakeholders around the world, in terms of the ability to be flexible, the ability to respond to events as they occur, the ability to scale by using the large multi-orbit satellite resources that we have to bring resources where they're needed, when they're needed. And the ability to bring performance that's never been achievable from space. The throughput from first O3B, but in the next generation of MEO, O3B mPOWER, is going to be the kinds of throughputs that haven't been seen in the past and really expand our addressable markets to applications and needs that haven't been addressed previously. I like to say that we really are addressing the core requirements of telcos first time that that satellite is not just sort of a niche provider in the world of telecom and the world of enterprise and networks, where we actually can provide throughputs and performance that really get to the core requirements of some of those big enterprises, those big telco operators. So it's been a pleasure to be at the forefront there, and that's what I think that the combination has meant for us.
Thank you. So thanks a lot for that. And before maybe I hand over for David, I don't think David will have time for a complete new round of questions. What I can say from my view and out of all of those excellent presentations and comments, I mean, Euroconsult founder Mark Gijay used to be that the difference between inventing and innovating is actually that innovation is bringing technology into the real world and making a societal an impact for the society and the world. And I think that all of your comments showed how your respective organization contributed. So I cannot talk for the jury or who shall be the winner, but congratulations already for all of you and your comments today. And handing it back over to you, David.
Thanks, Pacom. And yes, unfortunately, we do not have time for a second round of questions, but I do think we have time, and I, very much 30 seconds, final words from each of you. Since we went in alphabetical order for our questions, let's go in reverse alphabetical order. So Andrew, 30 seconds, final remarks.
Okay, 30 seconds. So I think that for us, the future is about innovation, but not forgetting where we sit in our community. That's important to us. We look forward to bringing the capabilities that make satellite more relevant. And very importantly, as you bring new capabilities, you need to bring the tools that enable those capabilities to be applied broadly across markets. And SES is a leader there, something that we're proud of. And we try to do it with a community mindset and an eye toward all the stakeholders in our industry. And congratulations again to GVF and to Euroconsult, and thanks for having me on your event.
Thanks very much, Andrew. Very concise and very comprehensive. Thank you. Stuart, on behalf of Kratos, 30 seconds. You're on mute. I'll give you 30 seconds starting.
Sorry about that. Yeah, so we're excited that we've been able to support the entire space industry, not only on the communications side, but on the LEO and Earth observation and every part of the industry. Our products are used in our services. And we think the future of the industry is a digital future where we take advantage of the software-defined networking, virtualization, and cloud architectures that are out there. And we're excited to be at the forefront of that revolution in technology and the impact it's going to have on the satellite industry.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Allison, over to you. 30 seconds. 30.
Thank you, David. And you'll have me on the clock, I know. So I think I would just say a couple of things is, for us, it's so important we hire and we keep the best people and we empower them to innovate and stay ahead of the market demands through technology. And we work with talented partners to understand the market and create solutions for it. Our success is really achieved as a team effort, both for Inmarsat team and our team of partners working together to continue to deliver excellence for our customers. We don't take lightly knowing that lives and businesses depend daily on our services. It's something we focused all our energy and efforts on to serve our customers, something we've been doing for the last 40 years and will continue to do in the future. Thanks for having me. It's been great. I'm really excited to be one of the finalists. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, and very concise as well. And Sharon, 30 seconds.
Thank you. So in 2021, Hughes celebrated 50 years since the company was founded in a garage in Rockville, Maryland. We like to call it the original startup. And it was remarkable last year to celebrate those 50 years, but it's also been remarkable looking back at the last 25 years, along with all of our partners and industry players here today, and the impact of the innovations that stemmed from all of the different companies in those last 25 years. And I just want to put forward the one final innovation that I think continues to give back across our industry, and that is the VSAT. Hughes manufactures today more than 50% of the VSATs in the world, and supplies them to customers like many of them, my colleagues here on this call and others in the ecosystem around the world. And we value those partnerships and those relationships, and helping to connect our customers and our partners around the world is really what we're about. And that is why we continue innovating for 50 years and counting. So thank you very much for having Hughes as part of this incredible conversation today.
Thanks very much, Sharon. And Natalie, 30 seconds.
What I can say, Eutelsat wants to continue to innovate for providing global services to our customer and above all to satisfy our customer requirements. So we believe in a convergence of infrastructure and satellite infrastructure. So our aim is to integrate as much as possible the satellite world with the terrestrial one in order to have the satellite infrastructure agnostic, almost agnostic to users. And we want to continue to introduce innovation to achieve this target. So thanks a lot for this a very nice conversation. It was a pleasure for me to participate.
And thank you, Natalie, and thanks to all the panelists for wonderful presentations, and congratulations again on each of your companies being among the 5 finalists for the GVF Quarter Century of Excellence Award. So looking forward, and if we can have the next slide. Yes, so thank you. The winner, as you can see, will be announced and the award given on 14th September 2022. That coincides very nicely with Euroconsult's World Satellite Business Week Anniversary Gala at the wonderful dinner that will be held at the Westin in Paris, France. And we very much look forward to that announcement and congratulate today the 5 finalists, and very much will congratulate the winner. As hard as it will be to choose, the winner will be chosen very shortly. Pacom, you get the final word about World Satellite Business Week.
Well, we'll be more than happy to welcome the award winners, but all the participants and many more organizations in September again in Paris. So to hear about leaders in the industry remain at the edge and keep innovating, and also obviously some of the new contenders from the entire ecosystem. So a lot about satellite communications, but also remote sensing, other part of space logistics, even exploration and other topics in our ecosystem. So hopefully in a more, let's call it a friendly environment, pandemic-wise, compared to last year or December. We very much look forward welcoming leaders from our industry from essentially around the world. So we look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you, Pacom. And this concludes the presentation. Again, thank you to those in the audience for joining. Thanks again to the presenters, and thanks as well to Pacom and Euroconsult. Very much wish everyone a good summer, and stay tuned in September for the announcement of the winner. Thanks all.